That's a little better.
Okay.
Hi, how
Hi.
you doing?
I'm good. I'm
And
good.
I've known you forever,
I
and so
know.
it's great that I finally get to interview you about your
Yeah.
book.
Well, I appreciate it very much. And it's nice to meet
It's
you.
really funny. It's called Funny Tales of Terror and Other Desperate Cries for Help.
Well, that's the
And
subtitle. Yeah.
very funny. I love the page, this page right here. You just say, this page purposely is left, this page purposely left blank. For insurance purposes, you'll get it later.
Yeah.
If you read the text above, you shouldn't have because this is a blank page.
Well, I tell it like it is.
Yeah, it's so funny. And you have some people that have I'm so glad I had a fairly normal last name. That's funny. Dedicated to love with love to my wife Karen, my parents. That's sweet. But yeah, this book is great because everyone could relate to it, first off. So
Well,
tell me about
yeah.
it. Tell me about what gave you the idea.
Sure. Yeah. So it's called MurMurings. I have my copy here too. So we can read along together or something. But essentially what it is as I've explained to people, it's two books in one. And um, half of the book is composed of the Facebook posts that I put up. It's about 150 illustrated Facebook posts that go back about 13 years.
I've seen most of them, yeah.
Yeah, you probably have, at least half of them. And so what I was doing was, putting these posts up. And then after some time, people said, well, you might want to put it in a book or do stand up or whatever. And I really couldn't figure out what to do with it. And then I came up with the idea earlier this year to accumulate the posts, get illustrations to go with it. And that's kind of where it started. Was I didn't want to just do one post after another, 150 posts, just the text. I thought it would be a little more interesting with the visuals. So I did that. And then around the same time, I also started working on these short stories. The first one I wrote was about the time I got robbed, and or almost
The time you got what?
the time that I almost got robbed when I was in high school. And I was just kind of experimenting. I had written before, but it had been a while. So I was just playing around with that. And I wrote this short story where I tried to make it humorous. And even though it was a scary situation. And after that, then that story was called The Time I Almost Got Robbed. And then there was The Time I Really Did Get Robbed. So I thought, well, let me work on that story. So I had these two stories under my belt. This goes back about 1.5 years ago, and or maybe even longer. And then I thought, well, maybe I could work on a theme here. Maybe I could do funny tales of terror, just scary things that have happened to me in my life. And if I could think back of enough things, and sure enough, I was able to come up with a few more. So the other titles would be, the time, well, I'll read them rather than paraphrasing, but there was the time that I nearly got struck by lightning, which happened. There was when a dog bit me during the 1968 riots, and one about a car accident.
You got bit by a dog?
You got to read the whole story.
Yeah, you sent me this book, I got it
I
today.
know, I know.
But I was reading, I didn't read the short stories yet,
okay.
But I definitely read all the little,
the
funny illustrated.
Well, so I don't know how much I want to give away on the dog bite one, but I can tell you it wasn't a big German Shepherd coming after me at a protest. I'll just put it that way.
But did you have to get a rabies shot?
Stitches.
And what happened to the dog?
I don't remember. I mean, he was with his owner, so.
But you didn't press charges or
anything?
No. Okay, good, because the dog would have been put down. But why did he bite, do you think? I'm just curious. I'm always fascinated by dog bites because I always wonder what makes them tick, Yeah,
probably because there were a bunch of us kids playing at the playground, and I ran away, and he just went after me. So
You ran away from the dog?
yeah, I was 7.
Oh, okay. This makes more sense.
Yeah, this wasn't like 2 years ago.
I was like thinking you were an adult like you are now, and
No,
like
no,
you're
no, no, no. No, I
running from
probably would
a
still run
dog.
away. I probably still would. But
I'm
anyway,
sorry, that was funny. Okay.
yeah,
That would have been a funny story,
yeah. Well, it is, and
But kids, they don't know how to like handle animals. Their parents need to teach them how to like approach an animal. And so, yeah, I was watching God, what show your the neighbor next door or Nightmare Next Door. Do you ever see those shows?
no.
Oh my God, they are insane. Yeah, this one, the ID channel. Do you ever
Hmm.
watch the ID channel?
I think a little bit, but yeah, not a lot. I've
But yeah,
been.
there was this time, one of the neighbors, they used to be friends, kind of,
Mhm,
their
mhm,
neighbors were kind of friends and cool with each other. And then their little boy went over and was messing with their dog, and the dog bit the kid on the face, like a big
mhm.
chunk out of his face. And
Yeah.
so instead of like talking to him or what have you, they called the cops, had the dog was put down. Then
Mhm.
they tried to sue him, and all this basically all hell broke loose. And then there was somebody ended up dead. It was crazy. And I'm
Wow.
thinking, well, they should have told the kid, maybe don't go mess with the dog.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's not the kid's fault. I'm not saying it's the kids. I think it's the
Right.
parents' fault for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this
I'm
was
just saying.
somebody. This was just somebody walking their dog, and he got away. And I ran away, and just that's when all hell broke loose.
I
But
can't hear you. Oh, it's so frustrating.
yeah, I don't know why. Is this any better? I mean, I didn't do anything.
I know. You should sound normal.
Could be connection problem,
I don't
Wi-Fi.
know. I that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Boom.
We're
What
good.
the hell? Damn. Okay, tell that story all over again. Let's end this and then no. Okay, we're not gonna end it.
All right. Where do you want to start?
Oh my God. Okay. Hopefully whoever is watching will you know what? Let's start right here. Okay,
Okay.
stop. Let's just
Okay.
stop and act like we just got on. And then I'll cut that part out.
Okay. 1 second though. Let me just turn the volume down a little bit because it's kind of loud.
Okay.
Okay. And that shouldn't affect me. I don't think you should be able to hear me the same.
Yeah, I hear you fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Hi, how you doing?
Hi. Good. Lauren, how are you?
Fine. I have known you for so long, and I finally get to talk to you and talk about your book, Funny Tales of Terror and Other Desperate Cries for Help.
Right. It's that's the subtitle. The title is MurMurings, which is
MurMurings.
play on my name, and then Funny Tales of Terror and Other Desperate Cries for Help is the subtitle.
I love this book. It's so funny. I've been reading it a little bit. So I haven't read the short stories yet, but I'll read this page again because it's
Okay.
funny. This page purposely left blank. For insurance purposes, you'll get it later. If you read the text above, you shouldn't have because this is a blank page. That just kind of gives you an idea of like your sense of humor, and it's very funny.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, let's talk about it.
Sure. What would you like to know?
Everything. What made you decide to write this? I know that it says something about because I've seen your posts, we've been following each other and but yeah, it started in 1991. But obviously before Facebook.
Well, right. That's another joke, Lauren.
Yeah.
And they never made a movie about my childhood starring George Clooney or Meryl Streep. So
Yeah.
Just take that with a grain of salt. But the truth is that I got on Facebook in 2008, and a couple of years later, my posts started they seemed to be getting attention from people, and a lot of friends and people that I didn't even know told me that I should put them in a book or do something with them. And I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't think people would want to read a book just of Facebook posts.
Not true. Not true. But
well, yeah, we'll find out, I guess. But I thought, okay, I could
because we're on Facebook every day, all day, just reading people's posts. So
yeah.
you said this is good for the bathroom. You know, it's a bathroom book. And I'm like,
It,
yeah, right. You know,
yeah,
sometimes.
even if you're just shaving or brushing your teeth, you could still read it. But anyway, so I didn't really know what direction to go. I sensed that publishers were probably getting inundated with books of people with Facebook posts. That's probably you know, I'm thinking a publisher would get one of these books and say, oh, great, here's another one, you know. So I thought, well, what can I do to make it a little bit more different? And what I ended up doing was after accumulate, I mean, I had to go through 7,000.
Sorry, but this is funny. This is not a photo of the author. You got it from clip art. You said that's funny.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you have to read this book for that alone, because there's some really funny things in here like that.
Yeah,
But
there's a lot of buried things in there.
but there is a picture of you like when you're a kid, right? That's
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah, that was the day my father told me to go sit out on the trash cans and make sure they didn't blow away. So
Really?
I don't. My memory's a little foggy because I was probably about 3. But the picture certainly would make someone think that could have been the case.
That is so cute.
Yeah. But anyway, so what I did was I went through about 7,000 Facebook posts over the years,
Wow.
and just kept calling them and trying to figure out, you know, which were the best of the best. And then after I got it down to, you know, about 150 or 160, I started the second part of the process, which was to find illustrations to go with them. And
How did you do that?
just through a clip art.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did that, and there's half the book right there. And
Yeah, I love those. They're funny. You found some really good ones that fit perfectly. Because I
so
was going
then,
to do the same thing you were. I was going to do the same thing you were. And I was thinking, God, it would get kind of old, you know, just Facebook posts, Facebook posts. You would have to have illustrations, you know, on some level. But if you wanted to do an audiobook, that would be kind of difficult.
yeah, I already had someone ask me if the book was available in audio, and I said that the illustrations don't quite work in that format.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then the short stories, I had actually started to write a couple of short stories about 2.5 years ago. And the first one was, and these are the funny tales of terror. They fall under that theme. So the first short story that I wrote was about the time I almost got robbed. And I was just playing around, and I, you know, wanted to see if I could get the narrative out, and I did. And then I thought, well, what could I do after this? So I wrote another story about the time I actually did get robbed, almost like a sequel.
The sequel.
And yeah. And then I thought, well, where do I go with this? I've got 2 short stories. Where do I go? And I thought, well, maybe I could accumulate more short stories about things that happened to me that were scary, but they're all funny stories. And I came up with the idea of funny tales of terror. And from there, when I decided to write this book, and I was looking for more material because I didn't want it to be, whoops, there goes my mic. I didn't want it to be page after page of the Facebook posts. So that's why every few pages there's a short story, and then more posts, and then back to a short story. So I was looking for other things in my terror catalog that had happened to me, and just started writing more stories. And that's, you know, the stories like when I was in a car accident, and when I nearly got hit by lightning, and bitten by a dog when I was about 7 years old, during the 1968 riots after Martin Luther King was assassinated. And then the big one was when I was at work one day, and a train blew up behind my building, which was very, very, very scary. Very scary.
Was that when you were in Baltimore?
Yeah, you were working in Baltimore. Yeah. And
we have that in common. My family is partly from Baltimore. My grandmother was raised in Baltimore after immigrating from Russia.
Yeah. Well, mine too.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yiddish speaking.
Maybe we're related.
Yeah, we talked about that before. We're like, who knows?
Yeah. In fact, on that story, the train blowing up, if you look in that back of that page, there's a a link to a YouTube video. It's not my video, but it's one that I found where someone had recorded the explosion and
I
posted it.
wonder if I could put this in the video because it's pre-recorded. I wonder if I could put that in there right now and then, you know, pause it and then go, okay, let's put the video in.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, let's do that. Let's put the video in.
Okay. Yeah. If you can do that, that would be great.
If I can find it.
Well, if you go to that page here, I'll tell you, it's towards the back. The link is in there on page 60. The bottom of page 60. The full link is in there.
Is it on YouTube?
Yeah. It's a link to YouTube.
Okay, what's the link? So people know if they don't see it after this.
Yeah, it's kind of long.
No, just what is it about? The plane blowing up? I mean, the train.
Yeah. It's some people were driving around.
What year was that?
I think it was about 2014.
I can't believe we were there when that happened. In Baltimore?
Yeah. It was on CNN. And it was about
I remember hearing about that.
300 feet behind my building.
I just found it.
Okay.
That was 8 years ago in Baltimore. In Baltimore.
Yeah. Rosedale train explosion.
No train explosion. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm saving that to my playlist. But yeah, sometimes you gotta have the video because if not, people don't know how crazy that was. I'm surprised. What did you do? Did you stop work or?
Oh yeah, the building was shut down for 2 days. You know, the fire department came in, and our building was damaged. The building next to us got it even worse, and we weren't allowed back into the building for 2 days.
Well, that's good because you got off work, so it matters.
Yeah. But
I'm trying to find.
I had nothing to do with causing the explosion. So.
Oh, come on, be real. It's your fault. You know it.
Wasn't
you get out of work for 2 days, so you're like, I'm gonna make this thing.
Right.
Boom. Nobody got killed, did they?
No, miraculously, no.
Wow.
But what had happened was a dump truck crossed over the railroad tracks.
A dump truck started this whole thing. A dump truck.
Yeah, he went past the gates, and the train hit him and derailed, and the chemicals mixed. There was a big fire first, and then the explosion.
Is he okay? Was he okay?
I'm pretty sure he survived. Yeah.
Wow, and the fact that
the explosion was not. It wasn't instantaneous. It was maybe 15 minutes later. If you watch that video, you'll actually see that you just see these big, mushroom clouds, and then, I mean, they go for a while and then they explode. So. And
then you call the wife for like, what? Let's go on vacation. 2 days off. Where do you want to go?
She actually heard about it on the radio before I called her, because I was just, getting
she must have worried.
Yeah, she was, but I called her pretty quickly as soon as I could. Yeah. So anyway, I made light of it in the book.
I think this is funny. You said, like everyone else, I put my pants on one leg at a time. Unless anyone else, it often takes me 3 or 4 attempts.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. I just was putting on jeans the other day, and I was like, why is this so hard?
Well, that's why I was late for the interview. I thought I could get the pants on one quick time.
Yeah, it takes a while. So, oh my God, this is funny. When I was a kid, my allergies were so bad, I wasn't even allowed to have a pet peeve. And then you have the bird cage. So yeah, you got some good clip arts going on here.
Yeah, thanks.
Are they free? Do they charge you for that?
It depends on who you use. Some do and some don't. And some of it, I actually, I'm not a designer per se, but some of them I actually did create myself. There's a handful that I did on my own.
Which ones? This Smarter Than I Look shirt. I'm trying to figure out which one.
Yeah, probably that one. And I think there was boy, it was a while ago, so I don't remember. The one on page 11 about sawing a woman in half. Um,
Let me see. Page 11.
yeah, top of page 11.
Oh, yeah. You did that yourself?
Well, I had to, the woman was originally not sawed in half. So I had to, I had to be creative, and because, you'd be surprised. There just aren't a lot of images on the internet of women being sawed in half.
It's
And
true, though. You have one question about that trick where musicians saw a woman in half. How do they do that? I know. How do they do? I have no idea still. I will never know that.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
know I have musician friends, um, and they will not tell me.
Musicians or magicians?
I'm sorry, musicians. God, that's a tongue twister.
Wait a minute. You have musicians that are sawing women in half. So are they like
No,
touring with Alice Cooper or something?
magicians.
Oh, okay.
Musicians, yeah. That's weird. Those two are very similar, very tongue twisty.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, they won't tell me. Okay, I found one where someone's at a desk. My desk chair was really squeaky, so I sprayed the bottle with WD-40. Now my head is a little squeaky. Should have opened a window.
Yeah.
And looks like you too.
It's not.
I know, that's funny. Squeak. Yeah. Signs you never see. Please trespass.
I made that one. That was that was my art, because
That's
it's the
great.
simplest one in the whole book.
They should use that to get more people to come in at church or what have you.
Please trespass.
Temple.
Yeah, maybe we're onto something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They scare people away too much. I'm surprised Scientology hasn't done that.
Please trespass.
Please trespass.
Yeah. Not a bad
Really
idea.
desperate for new people.
Yeah.
So while you were working your normal job, you're just like, you know what? I'm just gonna put this book together.
Yeah. Just spent a lot of weekends and nights doing that. And it's funny because, like I said, the first 3 or 4 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, I had a spreadsheet where I had downloaded the archives from Facebook, and it had every post in there. And it was just,
How do you do that, by the way, speaking of which?
I'd have to, I don't remember off the top of my head, because I had to, at one point it was very easy to do. And when I was doing it, Facebook must have changed what they were doing. I had to Google it because I couldn't find it. It was very difficult. But I finally found it, and I downloaded everything to, I think it was several spreadsheets, because there was so much there. I mean, it's not just your posts. It's every time you wish someone a happy birthday, or
Yeah.
imagine,
That's awesome. I know.
yeah. And so just going through all that was just a very,
do you know they're going to change their name? Did you hear about that?
I'm sorry?
Did you hear that Facebook's going to change their name?
I did not. Is that true?
That was the rumor. I don't know. That's funny. I don't know why they would do that.
I haven't heard. Did they say what they're going to change it to?
No. That's the big question that everyone wants to know.
Yeah. Maybe they could have a big contest, and
they should have that, but they're so cheap. I don't think Zuckerberg would give out a dime for. He's like, wow. I don't know. That Facebook, I've been on there for so long, just like everyone else after MySpace. But yeah, they have done a lot of shady things, so there's that part of me that's like, God, do I want to stay on here and be a part of this? But I'm on Instagram, so I'm thinking, okay, there's only Twitter left. So what? Instagram is affiliated with Facebook. Same thing, same company.
Yeah.
So what are you supposed to do?
I don't know, but I just started a new Facebook page for the book, MurMurings by Murray, on Facebook and Instagram as well.
Okay, you're gonna have to drop me a link, and then I'll stick it in the description, because
sure.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are the instructions: how to download your Facebook archive. Go to facebook.com settings /settings. Tap download a copy of your Facebook data. I didn't even know I never even seen that. Tap download archive. It might take a few minutes, but Facebook will alert you when your archive is ready. When it is, click download archive, and then a zip file. So you probably have to do that on your laptop or your
Oh
your
yeah, yeah.
computer.
They're huge files. I mean,
Yeah.
mine were. It just depends on how much, but it's
I have a lot on there. I probably, but then again, I quit Facebook like
Mhm.
5 or 6 times,
Mhm.
500 or 600 times probably. And so I would have to start up again. And then, so I don't even know, but I want to do the last like 4 or 5 years probably.
Mhm. Mhm. You should, and we can certainly talk off camera.
What's going on?
We can. Can you hear me?
I'm a robot. What do you now? What is that?
I don't know. I don't know why it's what's going on. It's probably just a Wi-Fi connection or something. Is that better?
No, you might want to put on your earplugs.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, I think it's the Wi-Fi.
Maybe I should put it on. I usually don't use my data if I'm at home. Is that better? Now I can't hear you at all. We were on a roll too. We were on a
All right.
roll.
Yeah. Is that better?
It's a little bit better. Maybe I should turn down my volume.
Yeah. I don't know what happened.
Okay, that's better.
Yeah, I don't know what happened because I didn't do anything. So that tells me it's probably Wi-Fi related.
So now you live on the outskirts of DC, and
Right.
you guys go to DC a lot to go to
No,
see shows or
well,
whatever.
occasionally. I mean, certainly not since COVID, but Kennedy Center and places like that. Go to Baltimore more. It's actually it's funny because I live about 20 miles from the White House and 30 miles from Baltimore.
Aren't you a little afraid to live that close to the White House because something goes down? It's like that would be
It's
scary. I mean, it's still 20 minutes, but
Yeah. Well, no, it's I was gonna say it's 20 miles.
oh,
It's like an hour, but it's like
oh, okay,
like
okay.
in LA.
And
But
yeah, you're right.
yeah,
It's an hour
and
to get from 20 miles. Yeah.
right.
Okay.
So it's a lot easier to go into Baltimore and do things there, and there's a lot to do there as well.
Yeah, Baltimore. I love Baltimore, and I have family in Philly. So Baltimore and Philly, they're very similar, but at the same
Yeah.
time, they each have their own charm. But they're
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
old world, old world.
Yeah.
Their
Yeah.
architecture is
Hmm.
exquisite, and
Yeah.
that's my favorite thing to do when I go to cities like that
Hmm.
is look at all the old architecture and
Yeah.
uh,
There's a lot of that around here. Um, and but yeah, so pre-COVID, I mean, I was working in Baltimore. My wife works in DC. Um,
is that how you
so
know Dan Rosen?
I'm sorry.
Is that how you know Dan Rosen through Baltimore?
Yeah, yeah.
Did you grow up with him or?
No, no. I'm several years older than him, but um, I worked in a movie theater when I was in college,
Mhm.
and one summer, and I went back to college, and they hired Dan to take my place. And
Wow.
I went back to visit my friends.
Hmm.
Um, you know, when I was home from school, I went to visit my friends, and I remember Dan was. I was introduced to him, and he was sitting there writing jokes.
Of course he was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
He Dan Rosen, by the way, he wrote and directed. Did you direct it? No, he wrote The Last Supper. It's an
right.
indie movie with Cameron Diaz
Mm-hmm.
and who else was in it? I can't remember because this is one of my favorite
Ron
movies.
Perlman and
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. I
You
haven't
would
seen.
think that I would know. Annabella Gish, is that
Yeah,
her
Nora
name?
Dunn is in it.
Nora Dunn.
It's a very good movie. Very
Such a
good
good
movie.
movie. It's
Yeah,
one of my favorite movies of all time.
yeah.
And I've known Dan for a very long time too.
Hmm.
And that's how I met you is through Dan.
Right,
And so
right.
yeah, but I never knew how you two met. That was one thing. I need to get him on here. But
Yeah, you should.
he's a teacher. He's been teaching where in Chicago?
I think Atlanta.
Atlanta, Georgia?
Yeah, yeah,
Wow,
yeah,
I thought he
yeah,
was in Chicago for some
yeah.
reason.
The last I heard. So yeah, so I met him then, and it was just kind of a casual thing. And then he opened at a very young age. He opened a comedy club in Baltimore
Really? He did?
that I used to go to, and we
He
had
used to
some.
be a comedian.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. He was very funny, very good. And so anyway, I got to know him a little bit better in the club. So,
Yeah, I mean,
right before he moved to LA.
that's so weird. I've known Dan forever. I did not know that he opened up a I knew he was a comedian, that's what
Hmm.
he did. And And then he came to LA and he started making movies,
Right.
and he did really well.
Mm-hmm.
But the business is just hardcore. It's
Yeah.
really finicky.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
But
that's why I live outside of DC.
yes, yes. Okay, so God, that's crazy. I'm gonna have to ask him if he'll come on. I never even thought to ask him for some reason
Mm-hmm. He probably would.
because I know he just bought a house, a condo, a really nice condo, and it's really I'm just putting his name in. That's how long it's
Sure.
been since I've talked to him. We used to talk all the time when he lived in LA, and then we'd meet up. Oh, okay, I'm looking in the wrong place. I'm looking on Facebook. Um, so did your wife help you with the book?
Not in the beginning, but as I made it a little bit more presentable along the way,
Mhm.
she was very helpful with the really just giving feedback and reading the stories and letting me know what worked and what didn't work. So yeah.
You have to have someone like that in your life that's willing to go back and forth with you with
Mm-hmm.
it. When I was really, really into writing screenplays, and I still am, but I not as like I was. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was prolific, and it was like one after another, and I was obsessed. And I couldn't
Mm-hmm.
sleep at night because I'd be thinking ideas would come to me, dialogue.
Yeah.
And back then it was just taking notes or what have you. It
Yeah.
wasn't the
Yeah.
money. So yeah, but I had a friend of mine that would just want to hear everything, and so it
Mm-hmm.
was great, and I could do dialogue with her or what have you. So
Mm-hmm.
it's good that your wife is so supportive.
Yeah. Yeah.
As a writer, you
It,
need that.
it does help, and there were a few other people that also were very helpful too. Actually, before I even presented it to her, so my friend Brad and my cousin um, Myron and his sister Edie, um, they um, they were reading the stories and giving me great feedback, and even helped a little bit with some grammatical mistakes and things like that. So it takes a village.
It does. It takes a
Yeah.
village.
Yeah.
Yeah, those people that just write and write and write, and they just, I don't, those people fascinate me because they don't really bounce it off anyone else. And so it's all, yeah. But this is a really good book.
Yeah, thank you.
It's good that it's just entertaining, during these times where it's kind of a depressing time period.
Well, it's funny you say that. I was talking to a friend the other day who bought the book. The book just went on sale last week. And he said that he was looking forward to it. He says, I'm tired of watching the news all the time and hearing everything going on. He said, I'm really looking forward to it. He hasn't received it yet, but he says, I'm really looking forward to reading it because I need the laughs. And that's really, there's never a bad time for laughs.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and I'm being presumptuous that people will laugh, but the people that have read it and have gotten back to me have reported
No,
that there were some laughs here or there. So anyway,
how could you
but
not laugh? I mean,
well, I will say, my sense of humor may not be for everyone, but I think people that get it, and you get it, and so far, everyone that I had given it to a person in her 80s to read, and I thought, if she likes it, then there's like no demo group that that will not
yeah.
like it, and she loved it. So
It kind of reminds me of British, their sense of humor. You know how they have that kind of tongue in cheek,
yeah,
but it's dark, but it's very funny.
yeah. Well, I grew up on Monty Python, and
Yeah,
yeah,
like you could read this stuff with a straight face and people would be dying laughing, but some comedians feel like they have to overact it out. And
yeah.
then
Well, that's funny. That's funny you say that because of course, as a writer, I have voices in my head, and those voices are they're almost reading this as if it were Bob Newhart reading it, just very
yes,
very
right.
steady. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I love dry humor. And that's how the British are. That's why I always end up. I remember I was watching the show recently, and it was I think it was a Ghost Hunters. It was like
Mm-hmm.
a parody. It was like a Reno 911 kind
Oh
of
yeah,
stuff,
uh-huh.
but it
Yeah,
was like a parody of paranormal Ghost Hunter or what have you.
uh-huh.
and I was dying because they would say something so funny, and it was like a back and forth thing, and they just were like this the whole time. Yeah, well, we should probably tell him to get off their ceiling because they're hurting. And I thought this is so my humor, It's like people don't really get me, and so when I say things, they just kind of, because I'm like that too. I have the same really dark, dry sense of humor.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I love Coen Brothers movies and their screenplays, and even before them, you had Barry Levinson from Baltimore, who was just one of the best dialogue writers. If you ever see the movie Diner and some of the other ones that he wrote after that, it's just the ear that he had for dialogue, and it's so subtle, and then even if you watch The Wire, which is not a comedy by any means, but some of the dialogue that wasn't a Barry Levinson production, but just that kind of dialogue where it's just people talking, and a lot of my Facebook posts over the years, as you probably know, were some things I overheard in Panera in the morning, going in for coffee, and just some of the stuff that you just can't make it up. Although I will admit there was one I did make up, but other than that, you can't make it up. And just the things that people
we're writers, so when we're out in public, we people watch, but we also listen, and that's where I get some of the best dialogue from. It's just sitting at a McDonald's, even though I'm just drinking a coffee, and just going, oh my God, this is too funny. And then sometimes I have to record it, and they don't know it, but it's not because I'm like doing going to blackmail them. It's
right, you just don't want to forget it.
Yeah.
I can't picture Shakespeare sitting in Starbucks just like trying to get notes, and so that, I mean, he must have been he
was more of a loner. I think first off, Shakespeare wasn't even Shakespeare, it was somebody else,
right?
You come to find, but still it's the same. The writer is really good. Doesn't matter what his name is.
I always like the line from Mel Brooks, Carl Reiner, the 2,000-year-old man. And Carl Reiner asks Mel Brooks if Shakespeare was a good writer, and he said no, he had the worst handwriting, and he never dotted his I's, and he didn't know how to cross his T's.
Okay, so like the writing in general, writing,
right.
He was a great writer, but I you know what? I could see him being a people watcher. I could see him kind of sitting around listening to the drama that's going on in people's lives, and using that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what he wrote was historical stories.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he just his understanding of human nature and psychology, and just how people interact, and greed and lust and everything is just.
I could see him being the quiet type, and I could see him nobody suspecting that he was listening in on their conversations. He wasn't taking notes. I think he was brilliant. He was that type that there's nothing else to do back then. So what else are you going to do?
Right. Yeah.
So he probably took it all in and then went home and was like, because there were certain people of that generation that just were really good at observing and being able to translate that into something cohesive and brilliant that still stands today. I'm not really, to be honest with you, I'm not really into Shakespeare, but I've been in Shakespeare plays.
Oh, well, that's more than I have. I mean, I walked by a theater that was showing Shakespeare. So
yeah, exactly.
You're one up on me.
My family, we were in I was the changeling. Oh. So basically, I had no lines whatsoever, but I was in like every scene.
Funny. I took a Shakespeare class freshman year of college, and it was very difficult. And it's interesting because that was right around the time that VCRs were coming into play. And you could go to the library and you could read along with a play while you watched the play. But they didn't have, very limited. But I think, how difficult it was then versus now, where you have more opportunities to read along and watch whatever. And I ended up, I didn't do particularly well in that class. I don't remember what I got, maybe B-, C+ or something, but I got mono that semester, and I missed like a week or two of school, and that contributed to me not doing well in that class. So I always say it was really because of mono and not because I wasn't smart enough to understand
I would have done horribly in that class as well. I was taking journalism when I first started college, and I was probably going to have to take that class. Obviously, you know, you have to take classes associated with literature and writing. But yeah, I changed my major, and so I was like, phew, I didn't I didn't have to take Shakespeare because that's way out of my league. I don't even. It's great.
Just as well as handwriting was terrible.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know what the hell. But yeah, he inspires people to this day. So
yeah, amazingly.
If you're going to dig, call Miss Utility. It's the law. Plus, she's kind of cute. That's funny. I never even thought of that. Miss Utility.
I met her once. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. She's hot. She's beautiful. Why did they call the little candy bars fun size? What's the fun in being consumed with one bite? To me, fun size would be about as big as an adult penguin. It's so funny you say that because my roommate Roger, my friend, my partner Roger, we always get those fun bags. Yeah. You know, and he's like, these are so not fun. He goes, right. He goes, I'm so sick of taking a bite and then wanting another. He's like, it's just an excuse for to be cheap on Halloween or whatever. I can't remember what he said, but it was very funny. But it's true. It was not fun at all.
I don't know. I mean, it just tells you, you know, that they try to sell you anything they can. And they came up with fun size. But,
well, probably due to kids, you know, getting so hyper off of a whole candy bar, maybe, or, you know, like, can you imagine? Yeah. A 5-year-old on a candy, you know, like a Snickers bar, like that's out of control. Yeah. I think my puppy got into some chocolate or some candy. I hope not. Yeah, like she was just losing her shit all day, and she was literally around. And I think today was the naughtiest she's ever been. But I don't know what she got into, but I'm hoping it wasn't. Yeah, I keep watching her, so I'm like, I hope she's okay.
Yeah, I saw something on the news last night about how dogs shouldn't eat raisins.
Raisins is another big thing too,
and presumably craisins too. But I could never be a dog because I'm a big raisin and craisin eater.
I like craisins. I love craisins. I do not like raisins. I don't know why. I don't like them baked, I should say. I don't like them in my cookies or bread or in my cereal. Like, leave them alone. If you're going to eat them just out of the box. But put them in anything, and I'm like, oh, hell no.
I put them on steak. I put them on fish fillet. No, I'm just kidding. But
I used to have a friend that's mom. She always cooked, but she always put raisins in everything. Cookies, breads, cereals, ice cream, like anything. She'd put it in everything. And I was always the one picking everything out. And she would get so upset. No, you got to eat the raisins. That's what makes it, you know, no. Yeah. I hate raisins. No, it's the texture. I don't know what it is.
Well, keep them away from your dog.
Yeah, she's not allowed to eat raisins. But Roger sometimes leaves his sweets out. You know, he leaves candy, or he likes raisins and nuts and things like that. So I think she got into something, because I woke up this morning and the house was thrashed. The whole house was thrashed. And then she just wouldn't calm the fuck down. She just, for hours, it was like that. And so I was like, this is why I did not have children. That's why.
Because you'd have to keep the sweets away from them.
Yeah, but not only that, you would give them just to shut them up. You'd be like, here's a candy bar now, just go watch cartoons, or, you know, I could see why people do it. I get it.
Well, and you know, the thing that's interesting is lately, of course, on the news, they're reporting about all of the people just doing crazy things on airplanes. And and I think they've said that on some flights, they're not going to serve alcohol, which makes perfect sense. But I'm thinking,
I swear to you, I think that it's some sort of anxiety disorder type of thing, or a control thing, or I think when they're on the plane and they're drunk, and to them they feel trapped and everything's closing in on. I'm just trying to picture what they would feel, because that's how I feel sometimes in certain situations, and so they automatically go for the cockpit. I don't know why, because they want control and they're wasted, and so next thing you know, they're taped to their seat. You know, the the whole plane gangs up on them, and then they're like,
right.
like,
And I mean, I don't think that they should be serving the alcohol to them, but they should be serving it to the little kids that are crying, because
yes,
that
they need to go to sleep.
oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Like, yeah, alcohol for me, it was never something I did on a plane. I would
Yeah.
need a pill. Like, I would say, you know what, I'm going to need Ativan for this. This is going to be, I want to sleep. I don't want to be awake.
Yeah.
Or there has to be some good movie on or something. But I
Yeah.
don't want to be drunk on a plane. For some reason,
No,
it sounded
no.
fun to me.
Well, if there's turbulence, it just makes it worse. And I get on a plane with a big thick book, and I sit down, buckle in, open the tray after they take off. Well, no, even before, because
Like
I'm
a
waiting.
Stephen King book or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and I put it down and I start reading, and then I usually fall asleep before the plane takes off. So I don't need the alcohol to help me sleep.
No, I just need a pill. And like I said, either a good
Okay.
book or a good movie. But I usually like to have like a hoodie or something. I always wear, people don't like that, but I usually like to put it over my face so I can't see anyone, and I feel like they can't see me even though they can, and then I just fall asleep. But I'm not the one to take out the eye mask and, you know,
Yeah.
all of that. I just use a hoodie or something, or like a pillow or a blanket or something over my head.
Do you like flying?
I hate flying.
Oh,
I
yeah, I
used
like
to like
it.
it.
I like
I
it.
grew up flying. We used to go back and forth to Philly when we moved here, back and forth, back and forth. But even before that, my mom was an actress, and she was into Broadway, and we would be in New York a lot. And we had family in Baltimore, so we'd be there. And so I grew up flying a lot. And but as I got older, I couldn't afford to, you know. My mom left when I was young, and it was like, so I moved to Hawaii, and there was like I had to take little flights back and forth to the islands on those little planes that were very scary. And there was a lot of turbulence, and I had a panic attack on one of those. Not a full-blown panic attack, not like crazy ass, I'm going to die, but I had like an anxiety attack.
Sure. Yeah.
And after that, I became really, it just would come on. Coming back from Hawaii, I had one, and I was like, what the hell is wrong with me? I was like so happy to go home. For some reason, I was really happy to go home because I had been living there a while, and I had island fever, and I was bored out of my mind, and I was like, I can't wait to get back to LA. For some reason, I was like, bring me home.
Yeah.
But I had an anxiety attack, so
yeah,
I don't really do that anymore. I haven't flown in a year.
No, I've been fine. The very first time I flew was from Baltimore to LA. I was 18 years old. And I was sitting, and I don't think I was nervous. I don't remember being nervous, but I was sitting next to a little kid. He must have been about 8 or 9 years old. And he looks up to me and he says, do you know how airplanes fly? And I'm like, not really. And this 9-year-old explained to me how an airplane flew. He had flown many times, and he knew everything about it. And I was amazed. And that's how I fell asleep too. After a while. Yeah, but I'll never forget that little kid, you know, just explaining. It was like,
he's someone that in school he would have annoyed you because he would have had his hand up all the time, but on a plane, you know, it's like, thank you, little kid.
He's probably president of an airline now.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I was a really good flyer. I never cried. I never threw tantrums. I was just one of those kids that was really good at playing by myself. So I would just play with my little toys and, you know, little puzzles or whatever, and then I'd fall asleep, and that was that. It's over.
Yeah.
But now I'd be like, I would need a drug to knock me out, pretty much. Yeah, no,
I just need to carry a big book in. You know, I get so tired from carrying the book in.
Yeah, well, that's why people do audio.
Right.
Because then you can just like plug it in and just listen. But then again, I think I'm one of those old school people too that I really do miss books. I miss the smell. You know, I miss opening it up. I miss marking the page. You know, I think that I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks, but for me, it's like I think I'm not really absorbing the information as much as I would if it was right in front of me and I'm reading it.
Yeah, I feel the same. I've listened to just a small handful of audiobooks. I'm not one that's going to sit around the house with the earbuds on listening to a book. I had a long commute in the morning. So there were some days where I was listening to books, but you're driving around and your mind starts to wander. And like I could never listen to a novel. It would only be a biography, usually.
I was listening to
history.
like The Murder of Marilyn Monroe recently.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the name of the book, but it's something about how the Kennedys and whatever. So, but yeah, I would sit in bed and I would just play it out loud and I would listen. I'd be like, yeah, and I'd play like word games at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes I would get so into it that I would miss a whole, chapter or whatever. And I'm like, oh God, I have to go back now. I'm like, Alexa, can you, rewind to the last chapter? And then she's like, I don't know what you're saying. And then I'm like, what? I'm like, so I'd miss things. And I'm I should just be reading this right now.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. And one of the things I mentioned in the book is usually, when I go to the beach, I love sitting by the ocean and reading. And it started happening as I got older, but I'd be reading on the beach and I would fall asleep and I would dream that I was still reading. but it would go in some weird direction. So whatever I was consciously reading, absorb that. And then it was like, almost like, you're hallucinating and the story would just get so weird. And then I'd wake up and.
A few nights ago, I did that. Yeah, that was weird. It was about Maryland. It was something about like the old studio system, but my dad showed up and he was like, my dad had passed and he said hello to me, but it was his voice. It was my dad and it was his voice. And I was like, what a weird time to like show up and say hi. Like it was just, and then I woke up going, my dad said hi to me in a dream. That was so weird. He didn't say anything else. That was it. He just said hello. I'm like, why would hello? Why not hi? Or send me a secret message or something. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, when you read, I fall asleep to audiobooks all the time, especially if it's all about the voice. Mm-hmm. They hired this one woman that could do men and women voices. She's really good. I don't know her name. I should probably remember that. But every book she does, I'm like enthralled, and then I can't sleep at night. And then there's some that are so boring and just have a weird accent or something that I'm like, okay, I'm going to fall asleep like that. I might as well just buy the book.
Yeah. Well, you can control it better. Yeah. And that's the thing is I think you get more. I'm sorry?
I don't have a big enough bookshelf anymore. So it was like, whatever,
Yeah. Well.
So do you plan to write other books?
I'd like to. Yeah.
Because you've written before, you're a writer, but do you plan to make any more like this one, or do you plan?
I don't know if I would do another one like this. I think I'd be more likely to do a novel. But this one just came out last week, and it's the first week. I've been very pleased with the response.
And you have a publisher.
It's self-published.
That's what I'm going to do with the book about the one I told you about that I was similar, but it's like about Facebook post.
Yeah.
The last few weeks have been very
happy. I'm happy to, we can talk separately if you need any advice on that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so I need to put, a bit of time into just getting this one out there. And then after some time, I'm planning to sit down and work on a novel. It would be a humorous novel.
Absolutely. I think
not a tale of terror.
Yeah. I wrote a book and I have to do rewrites and take things out, put things in, all of that, rework it. And I always think about that. I'm like, I'm going to have to self-publish this, but I'm going to make it. It's kind of funny. Like the stories I tell are funny. Hold on, Charlie. So yeah, it's funny, but it's tragic at the same time. And that's my humor. It's like the dark humor that I gravitate. Like Shallow Grave. Do you remember that English movie?
I don't think I saw that.
Even Dan Rosen's movie, the last episode. That to me
that's dark.
Hilarious. Yeah. I mean, I was laughing the entire time. It was so funny. But other people that have watched it, they're like, that's not funny at all. They're killing people, I'm like, no, it's funny. It's like,
Or like Fish Called Wanda,
Oh, love that movie.
Do you laugh at some of those scenes or
do
you
absolutely.
Scream? Well, I mean, I know you do, but a lot of people don't.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people don't. They don't think that's funny. They're like, that's not funny at all. So yeah, there's a lot of movies like that, but my writing's kind of like that. I
Yeah.
think yours is not as much as yours though. Yours is like full blown, like you could laugh out loud.
Hmm.
I think you would have to have my sense of humor or, to get it, but
Yeah. Well, I'm happy to read whatever you write. And it's
yeah.
funny. I almost forgot about this. I was in my basement and I found an old manuscript I wrote in the 80s. And it was actually about a guy who owned a pillow company, and he was a scam artist.
Ooh, God, it was like ominous almost.
Yeah.
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 My pillow guy, he's
Hmm. Yeah.
Looney Tunes. I think he's still on something, don't you? I mean, I can't imagine that he isn't.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of don't. I turn the channel usually, but hopefully I didn't, lose any customers by saying that. But anyway, but no, it was just funny. I wrote this book about 1985, and the main character, and it was a scam artist who happened to own a pillow company. So
That's kind of a brilliant idea. No one would ever, like, you came up with that, and that's actual real person now. And he
yeah,
was then probably he was trying to. I don't know. I actually think then he was on drug. He was.
yeah, that was 35 years ago. I don't know.
Well, Stephen King came up with the Trump character, a long time ago, and it came true. So we have to watch.
You mean yeah, that the Christopher Walken movie,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
So we really, and how many times has South Park or shows like that, the Simpsons predicted things. We have to watch what we write.
I know, it's amazing. It really is. But
yeah, it's like, oof.
yeah.
Hold on, Charlie dog. He wants to go outside, and I still want to, go through this. Oh, there's popsicles. I love popsicles. Is a good humorist someone who's funny or someone who sells ice cream? The good humor bar. Yeah. I see. I don't want to read them all out because then it's going to ruin it.
Right.
Person writing it.
That's what you do when the camera goes off.
Yes. Then I bring this to the bathroom and
Well, just the book. You leave the camera,
Oh yeah.
outside. Yeah.
There is fetishes for that though. But I don't do those. I don't do those. They're weird.
Yeah, that's out there. That's a whole other book that I'm not.
Whole other book, whole other
I'm
show.
not
Yeah, but I've had people ask, "Can I take me to the bathroom with you?" Like, and that even ruins like marriages sometimes. It's like, no, just you do your thing. Then we have separate bathrooms. You do your thing. You do my thing.
Yeah.
Weird.
I remember Saturday Night Live years ago. I think it was when Kevin Nealon was on the show. And
what the hell?
It lost me again. Really?
What? I know.
You couldn't hear me?
I'm gonna have to turn on my mobile data to see if that helps.
Okay.
Does that work? Is that better, or is it yours?
I can hear you fine.
Nope. It must be your Wi-Fi.
Let me see kind of a signal I'm getting.
Okay, this is just telling me that we need to wrap it up.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I think my dinner's ready anyway.
Yeah, it's time to wrap. That's good. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, God, it was so nice talking to you for this long. I wish we could have talked longer. I could. We'll talk soon though. We'll talk about my book, and then we'll talk about this book, and yeah, we'll talk again.
Definitely.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, there you are. Just to say goodbye. All right.
Bye, Lauren. Thanks again. Appreciate it.
Have a good one, and I will talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.